If you feel like you have lived your life for someone else, if you feel like it's hard for you to know what you want, and if you feel like you will not be accepted if you actually own up to your truth, this video is for you. I'm someone who's lived my life feeling like I'm living for others. I didn't feel like my desires were valid. I felt like what I want is not okay, it's shameful, and so I've constantly pushed down this part of me that wants. Your desires are a little GPS from God, from universe. And so shoving them down leads you to living a life that's not yours. Shoving down my desires led me to live a life that makes others happy, that looks like it's the right life by the book. Maybe you're doing all the right things. Maybe you're successful. Maybe you're achieving things. But if you're not fulfilled, what is the point of life? I don't know if you can see a whiteboard in the back, but one of the most potent quotes that I've been living by is, if you were 80 years old and you were given a chance to go back into your current life, what would you choose? What would you do differently if all of a sudden your life just flashed by you? Because if you keep living your life the same way you've been living your life, you will end up in a very similar place that you are. Because it's pretty easy to tell where your life is going with the trajectory you're currently on. And if that trajectory is you don't even know what you want, you keep abandoning yourself, you keep suppressing your truth, that is not going to lead you to a life that's fulfilling. And so if you want to change that, I'm going to share with you in this video how you can do that, because I come from being someone who's went through this as well. And let me tell you, it's not easy. I'm not telling you it's easy. I think it's actually very comfortable to live your life giving your needs up, because then you're living from your mind. And most of the time, it's not your fault that you are this way. If you have repressed your desires, a lot of the times it comes either from childhood patterns where you were not allowed to want. Maybe you had something to say as a kid and that was shut down. I know that was the case in my family and my mom's family as well. When I wanted something, it was almost like you were not allowed to want things. You were not allowed to have opinions because either you couldn't get it or it would trigger people. And so you almost learned that it's easier to not want. It's easier to not express yourself. And so we tend to take those patterns and execute on them. The other reason you might feel this way is if it's tied to survival. Sometimes we shove down our desires because we have to survive. I've done this myself. And this can look like many different things. You can literally be shutting off connection to your body, because if you don't recognize your desires, you're also disconnected from your body. And if you're not embodied, especially as a woman, you're not going to reach your full power and pleasure and happiness in life. And you deserve to have that. And if you've had to survive, if you've had to be safe, maybe you're still at a place where you have to survive or you have to fend for yourself, that can require you to temporarily shut down and put away your deepest desires, those parts of you that want expression. Maybe you want the softer life, you want certain things, but sometimes conditions in life simply make it impossible for you to have those things. I'm getting a lump in my throat when I'm even talking about it, because I know how painful that can be and how challenging that can be when you have to live this way. And sometimes it's easier to not know what you want, because sometimes knowing what you want and feeling like you can't have those things can be deeply challenging and difficult to live with. And again, I'm speaking very heavily from experience because it's something I have also dealt with. And the breakthrough for me came with really sitting down and allowing me to have wants. You basically have to give yourself permission to want. You really have to integrate the understanding that your inner desires are your GPS. You're not random. Like, they're not just some inks and desires and random things, unless, of course, they would be self detrimental. Like, don't, if you constantly want to eat sweets, that is not a desire, that is a body tendency that's probably not good for you. I am talking about desires that are good for you, because sometimes we also subdue those real desires with something superficial. I have done this before. I don't know if this resonates with you, and I've seen other people do this. Sometimes we use food or external things to numb what we actually want deep down. Sometimes it's easier to almost like quiet down that part of you. I know this happened for me. I used to struggle with food a lot, and I would numb everything. Like, if I wanted to express something, if I had a boundary and I wouldn't allow it to myself, I would then use food. Like, I would use the pleasure from food to satisfy the hole that was missing inside of me. And so you not living your desires and you not owning them can cause a bunch of random things in your life. And we only live one life. Okay, we don't get a second chance. And your desires are literally your inner GPS. I keep repeating this. I will probably keep repeating this because it's important for you to understand. I want you to sit with this and I want you to internalize that the way you are created is not random. There is one of you. There's one of you in this entire world. And God put you on this planet to live a purpose. You have a purpose. And how would God talk to you? He talks to you through your inner knowing. He talks to you through your heart. And He talks to you through your desires. Again, I'm talking about soul desires, not bodily sensations. Your soul, what does your inner being crave? In order for you to get in touch with this, if depending on how far away from it you are, you will have to learn to sit with yourself and make it a commitment to yourself. When I had to learn this, I had to really journal and I had to really reflect on every single decision I've made. And it had to become almost like a practice of every time I'm deciding something, every time I'm doing something, I'm saying something, to the littlest things. Sometimes we don't even say what we want because we don't admit it to ourselves. But the way you can recognize when you are doing this is when you feel off about something. If you are doing something or saying something and you feel an off feeling in your chest, if you feel contracted, if you feel restricted, go deep within yourself and ask yourself, am I doing this because it's what I want? Or am I doing this because someone else asked me to? Most of the time, we tend to do things because we also think it's correct. That can coincide with it being what you actually want. Whatever you choose to do, whatever you choose to be, whatever path you choose to go in life, the only thing I want for you is that you choose a life that you don't have any regrets over. When you are 80 and you look back, I want you to look back and say, I did every single thing I wanted. If I could go back, I would not change a thing. Whatever is within your power, sometimes we cannot control the circumstances, but you going within yourself is you having the ability to rescript your reality by first learning to master yourself. My whole mission with this channel is to explore and master your inner being, like my inner being, because our life is kind of a mirror of who we are. People tend to treat us the way we treat ourselves. And so, if you can master yourself, if you can get in touch with your truth, with your desires, you can change your entire life purely by that one thing. And that is my whole mission because I think in this day and age, especially, we're so disconnected. There's so much on social media that you look at and you say, oh, I should do this because this is what everyone else is doing. Only if it's true for you. Don't do things because that's what everyone else is doing unless it's genuinely what you want. I got lip fillers, very small amount, because this was what I wanted. It was not because it was what people were telling me to do. It was not because there were external things. I just looked at myself and I was like, one day when I'm 80, I will still wish I had gotten lip fillers. And I will still wish that I taken a chance, even though I was scared. I am just very sensitive in my body. And so to me, getting lip fillers, maybe this is a random topic, maybe you relate to this on any level. The point is that I was really scared. And to me, it was fear of, oh my God, I might not make it out of it because my body is extremely sensitive to all the substances, especially anything chemical or artificial. I am way better now. My body is way stronger now. But at the time I was getting my lip filler still, I was genuinely scared. I was like, I may not make it alive out of this, but I thought I will be 80 one day. All these irrational fears, I will literally look back and be like, I just wish I took a chance and did something that would make me happy. And when you are happy, you make everyone else around you happy. You literally radiate this light. And so I just want you to reflect on that. And one helpful exercise is if you genuinely don't know where to start, or if you need some kind of journal prompt, I do have some notes and I just want you to do something called desire mapping exercise. What that looks like is I want you to either reflect or write about different parts of life, different areas in life. And I want you to think about what would I like in this area of life, whether even if it feels scary, even if it feels silly, even if it doesn't make any sense for a moment, just give yourself permission to just go there. Just explore. You're not doing anything, you're just allowing yourself to see what would you actually want in this area of life. So for example, your body and your the physical pleasure. What would you like in your body? What would make you feel good, even if it's scary or uncertain? What about in your creativity and your expression? What about your love and relationships? What about your adventure and exploration of this earth? What about nourishment? What would nourish you? What about your purpose? What would make you feel on purpose or like you're contributing? Sometimes our desires too, especially in our soul, are not always about us. In fact, I would argue most of the desires you have are not about you. They're also about all the people that you will impact when you start following them. For example, I had a desire for a while to do this whole YouTube thing, to share for about women, and I've never pursued it because of my own fears. Oh, it won't work. Oh, I can't raise it from zero. Oh my God, it's going to be a waste of my time. But if the desire doesn't go away, usually it's not about you. Me making videos, it's not about me. Of course, I enjoy it, but it's really about the impact I hope to have. And of course, you don't need me to tell you that in order for you to live a life that you want, you should absolutely take action on those desires. But one thing I want to leave you with is a scripture from the Bible. I've been trying to follow God more, and it's Proverbs 4:23. It says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And this actually makes me want to cry. I have that on my wall actually as well, because everything you do, everything you create in this world, truly flows from you and it flows from your heart. And your heart is given to you to guard. Okay, I'm going to give you one more, which is Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.